to put teams in the field in Sri Lanka, Philippines, Sudan. We're looking at Georgia at the moment. So we do have to raise money, and that money, we believe should come from both individuals and people that believe in this idea and want to see it happen and want to promote it, but also from governments, because they're the ones that need to start diverting money from militaries into other alternative ways of protecting people and of stopping wars. And we have got very excellent support up till now from the Australians, from the Swedes. The Belgian government just gave us €1 million to start a project in Sudan, because they're having a referendum in Sudan. I don't know if you follow the situation in Sudan, but the tension is building up. There could be a terrible war there, worse than Darfur, because of the way that the peace agreement between the north and the south is unraveling. So, there are governments supporting this, and there's no reason why the UK government shouldn't be one of those. And we have been working very hard. Our office is in Brussels, and so we work quite a bit with the EU to try to get them interested, and they're starting to support our work. We've just had funding for work in the Philippines. So we have a number of opportunities. We would very much like to work together and see how we can use your united organizations to sort of push and support this idea and get it interested. It's something that we've got resources for to help you also if you're, I'm sure you all have plenty of other causes and things you want to be talking to people about, but it's always good to have an additional argument and an additional example of things that people are doing, or additional materials to share with people. So I'm hoping that this can be a good collaboration, and I think that's more or less covers it. We also are always looking for people to help actually do this work, go into the field, or volunteer in our offices, or do things, in this country, in your own areas or whatever. So we're always recruiting, and that's a key thing for the needing somebody in the UK, because there's lots of resources here, and we're not tapping into them right now because we don't have a partner in the UK.
Well, thank you very much, Tim. That reaction explains itself. It's an exciting new idea, and it clearly needs a great deal of thought. I don't think we can sensibly debate it now. Are there any factual questions?
Just one question.
Just to give you a very quick example, in Sri Lanka, because I was there for the last year, and we were working with journalists who've been threatened, and people that have been, received death threats. You've probably heard, people have been assassinated, including newspaper editors and so on. And we had a case of a man who was, first of all, getting extortion threats from a local thug, and then he was getting death threats. He fled his area, and he then fled the country and came to Germany. He was under 24-hour, watching to make sure nothing happened to him. And eventually, the way that we do our work is that we identified who was causing this threat. And we worked out from a local thug right up to a very high-level politician who is in charge of a province of Sri Lanka. And we went with this guy directly to that politician in charge of the Eastern Province and said, "What's going on here? What's the problem? Why are you threatening this person?" And of course the politician said, no, nothing to do with me. I would never threaten anybody. This is not my organization. It's not my political party. We would never do this. We went back, and he never got any more threats. So of course the politician had nothing to do with it, but it stopped.
We've time for one more question, I think. Yes, I can see 3 hands up at the moment. We've only time for one more question, I'm afraid, because Jeremy has to get away this afternoon. Frank, I think you have.
Yeah, Tim. Only yesterday, Gordon Brown made a statement about the European police force. Have you any brief comments on that, and what should be done to encourage that and expand it?
Well, there are lots of developments on all these fronts, and you know, the Non-Violent Peace Force we're trying to demonstrate that this can work and show people what's possible and promote it. But our ultimate aim is to get governments and the UN to do it. As the UN and as the EU and as the British government, they've got to do peacekeeping with civilians. That's our aim. So we're a sort of temporary campaign to raise awareness and to prove what's possible on the ground. And there's not time to go into the details of some of these. Some of the things that the UK government is doing is in the right direction, but is also, there's other things going on there, like the fact that they can't get, trained, qualified people to go and work in Afghanistan and Iraq because of the circumstances, and so they've set up this scheme to basically get people who are willing to go to these kind of places. And there are limits to that, and that's moving in the right direction, but it's not quite the same thing. So there's more to discuss. We can talk afterwards. Okay, so thanks.
Tim, thank you very much. It's certainly what I'm thinking, Tim. Clearly we can't take a decision on this today, but I suggest we might perhaps have one of our meetings on this in the fairly near future, because some of you are thinking about further. Thanks very much for coming.